Well, it's important for several reasons, because ketamine is a kind of a breakthrough medication, potentially. There are quite a few studies now that have shown that it works in depression, but it's not just that it works in depression, it works in a completely different way to all other antidepressants that we have to date. Most antidepressant medications take weeks or a couple of months to work. It works in hours. Second, you know pretty much after the first or second dose of the medication whether or not it's going to help the patient. If they don't get better within the first couple of doses, they're not going to respond to the medication. So you have a quick answer. We're not entirely sure what particular properties of ketamine make it such a rapidly acting antidepressant. But one of the things that happens when you're depressed is that the brain growth seems to slow and actually reverse. So the parts of the brain actually get smaller. And the longer you're depressed, the smaller those parts of the brain get. Ketamine seems to have the potential, as do other antidepressants, but it does it much more rapidly. It has the potential for reversing this brain growth deficiency and causing the brain to grow back towards the way it was. So the most obvious side effect that people are aware of is that they make, it's a bit like tripping. That's why people have used ketamine in other forms as a party drug. So you feel a bit unreal, the world around you feels a bit unreal, things may seem a little distorted, you may become a little paranoid. There's definitely a sort of what we call a psychotomimetic effect. And in addition to that, there are things that the patient doesn't experience, but we detect. For example, it does produce a slight rise in blood pressure. Hopefully, what it'll mean for the patient is that treatment will be carefully controlled by a psychiatrist or somebody who knows something about depression and can assess them and determine whether they need, how many treatments they need, how often they need the treatments, do they need one treatment, do they need 2 treatments a week for a while, where does other medication play a role. All of this will be improved thanks to the approval of the esketamine. On the other hand, we don't have a very good idea of the long-term safety of repeated administrations of ketamine, and it does have a theoretical potential for abuse, and so people vary as to how many doses they want to give and how conservative they are. Here, our view is that obviously you want to use the fewest doses that you can in order to get the best benefit for the patient, and you certainly want to have we believe you should have an end point.